G'day, how you doing? I'm Steve Parker. I'm an Australian actor from Danger 5 and stuff like that. And I've got some questions here from you guys for me to answer. So, the first one. What are the biggest pressures on upcoming 20-year-olds in Australia? Well, I haven't been a 20-year-old for weeks, maybe even months. But as far as I can tell, the major pressures on 20-year-olds today include playing video games, watching anime and wearing onesies while going on pub crawls. So I think probably it comes down to trying to avoid becoming an adult at some point. That's all right, I've managed it for a good 20 years so far. Fingers crossed. Next one. What is the food like and what is your favourite dish? Australia was colonised by the English, so we've got predominantly English culture, which means our food is very bland because the English are, they're allergic to flavour and emotions and the philosophical concept of joy. My favourite food, I think, is the humble meat pie, which you guys don't really have. I think mostly you just have fruit pie and pumpkin pie, don't you? Which I really think is your greatest cultural failing. That and country music. But the meat pie is basically mince and gravy with bits of gristle and chunks of miscellaneous dead animal, wrapped in pastry with tomato sauce on top. Delicious. Next question. How is Adelaide different from the other big cities in Australia? Well, first up, I'd have to say that we're smaller and we speak better English and we've got all the serial killers, which is good. I mean, they've got plenty of murders and all that, stuff in other states and cities, but we're the ones that are most likely to sort of capture tourists on their way through and torture them to death and throw their bodies down the mine shafts. What can I say? Everyone needs a hobby. Hey? Next question. What is the nightlife like in Australia? What do you do for fun? Well, I think you'll find it very familiar. I mean, we've got nightclubs and we've got restaurants and we've got theatres and all of that sort of stuff. And of course, the old Aussie pastime of getting extremely drunk, or more recently experimenting with illicit chemicals of various sorts. Obviously, as a responsible adult, I spend all my time studying Shakespeare and writing extensive moral treatises on the failings of the youth of today. What is the education system like? Well, it's a lot like yours, only superior. Obviously. We start kindergarten at around age 3 or 4, then at about 5 we move over to primary school. At about age 11 or 12 we go to secondary school or high school, depending on what state you're in. Then at about 17 or 18 we move off to university or some other tertiary education, or straight to a workplace, or more commonly in modern days straight to the unemployment office to get on the dole. We spend a lot less time learning about sheep than you might think, although we do have extensive programs about ridiculously large hats, oft times with corks hanging around the brim to fight off all the flies. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing. Next question. How long have you been an actor? Well, I started in 2004, really, and turned pro in 2010. But really my first performance was in 1986 for a primary school review, for which I was given the award of Best Actor, for which I won a block of chocolate. I have yet to repeat this heady achievement, since everyone since then has insisted on giving me parchment or chunks of glass or brass or whatever, which is a big rip-off if you ask me. I reckon if the Oscars were made of chocolate, people would work a lot harder. Why did you want to be an actor? Well, I could tell you all sorts of things like, finding my true path in life or artistic integrity or anything like that. But the honest answer is groupies. Honestly, groupies, yeah. The chance of having random sex with miscellaneous strangers. Still waiting, unfortunately. That one hasn't really panned out. Next question. What does your typical day look like? Well, I wake up at the crack of dawn and I work out for about an hour, and then I check to see if I've got any messages from my agents, obviously. Then I nip around the house, do a bit of cleaning, all that sort of stuff. and then check to see if I've got any messages from my agents, and then I log on and do my social media duties on the Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and that sort of thing, and then I check to see if I've got any messages from my agents, and then usually the rest of my day is drinking quite heavily and weeping softly to myself because I don't have any messages from my agents. Yeah. Next question. What's it like to be an actor in Australia, and how do you think it differs from other cultures? Well, I quite enjoy it, but I'm not particularly ambitious, you see. For your ambitious young actor, there's really only three options. You can either move to LA, like everyone else, if you want, TV and films and that sort of thing. You've probably seen them everywhere asking you what you'd like with your coffee. Or if you want theatre, you can move to either London or New York. Australians tend to make very, very ochre movies about farmers doing it tough, and they're very well directed and produced and with wonderful acting and all that sort of stuff, if you ask me. But they are very, 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 very boring. So yeah, if you want to do anything interesting, you basically have to leave. Next question. Was there a defining moment in your life that made you decide you wanted to be an actor? Yes, there was. During my first amateur play, actually, I developed a very bad back, and some of the female actors sort of took me up to their change room and gave me quite a good back massage, actually. And it was at that moment, when I was being oiled down and rubbed up by half-naked actresses, that I thought, this is the life for me. Next question. Have you ever acted in any other countries? No, I haven't. The closest I ever came was when I was being considered for the part of the Mountain in Game of Thrones. They, of course, went with a much, much larger human in the end, but I'm still pretty sure that I can take him. Maybe when he's asleep. Possibly tied down. I mean, he's very, very big. Last question. What was it like being an Australian acting like a Russian in your TV show? It was good. I enjoyed it. Although it was a bit disappointing for the fans after the show finished when they discovered that I do actually have an Australian accent, not a Russian one. I do occasionally pull out the old Khrushchev voice every now and again, but that's really just to pick up at bars. Hey baby, have you ever been with a king of USSR land? Once you go Cossack, you never go back. No, it's never worked. And yes, we do put yous in all our words just to annoy you.